Welcome to the VIP reception for our 2020 Hiett Prize Online Gala. We are very delighted and grateful that you're here with us this evening. Because of pandemic restrictions, we've not been in touch the way we would like to have been. So before we get into our program, I invite you really to continue doing what you were doing just a minute ago. That is to take a minute or two and look around, scroll through the Zoom pages, find and say hello to friends and acquaintances. Maybe you haven't seen them in months. So feel free to wave and give them a shout out if you'd like. And I'll get us back in order in a minute or two. So go ahead and look around.
Good.
Okay, good idea.
Okay.
Hi, Gail.
All right.
Gail just joined us.
Who else is there?
Oh,
It's
wow.
Mary.
It's so good to see you.
Hi, Gail.
And Zita, we're just so thrilled about this and about welcoming you to the fellows.
Oh, it's amazing to be here. Thank you.
So
Great.
wonderful.
Hi, Zina.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Sadeshna. I think the name comes out on our little tags, don't they?
Yep.
It's down at
Yes.
the bottom.
Yep.
Yes.
They do, yes.
Cassius,
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice
Yeah.
to meet you too. Yeah.
Hi, Betty. See Betty on the bottom there? Yeah.
How do you do that?
so I see several photos. Josh,
You can say hello to my people, Christina and Olivia and Anne. Hello.
Hi, Joan.
Oh, good.
There's Maletta Lil.
Woo!
Fun.
Hi, Gail.
Hi.
Tina, it's Simi.
See me, where are you?
I'm next to Nancy.
Oh my gosh. This is
oh,
And there's Brenda.
I'm so excited for you. This is the best. I was telling Larry that about our conversations back at the Center for Hellenic Studies and how you and Michael were always the best person to have at the lunch table because you always knew it was going to be good.
Because we like to talk. We love to talk about thinking.
It's not just talking, it's like going for the deep stuff just fast as you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Might
I'm
beat around
very
the bush.
happy. That,
And I told Zena that this pandemic is going to be over and we're going to get her to Dallas for some of those conversations.
We can't wait.
Yeah.
It'd be
We
great.
can't wait.
That
Is-
is just the
Is
whole
Simi here?
we heard.
Yes. Hi, Dennis.
Oh, there you are. Hey,
Hi.
warm congratulations to you too, Simi, in assuming a big position. I mean, but I know you've got a lot of support and I'm just really happy for you.
Thank you so much. This is Zena's night, though, and
I know.
am so
I
thrilled.
want to share it with you though, Simi. Come on.
Oh,
Good.
you're so
Good.
generous. Thank you.
She's very generous. That's right.
This is great. This is great. Yeah, so I'm going to proceed now. There's really no substitute for being physically together.
Right.
That was a great way to begin our online evening. And as you know, as we've said, we're here to celebrate a person and her work tonight. And during this VIP reception, we'll be meeting and hearing from the winner of this year's Hiett Prize in the Humanities. This is the 16th annual award dating back to 2005.
Wow.
Wow, it's really got a lot of shelf life. You'll also have a chance to ask questions and make comments before the main program begins. So if you do have questions or comments, you have some options. You can raise your hand and we will call on you for a question, or you may enter a question at any time into the chat function in Zoom and I'll present it to our Hiett winner. And I'd like to introduce her now. Dr. Zena Hiett is a tutor at St. John's College. Her BA in philosophy is from St. John's, and she earned a Master of Philosophy degree from Cambridge University and a PhD degree from Princeton University. We'll get to know her better during the award ceremony. Right now, I'd like to give her the chance to speak to you directly for a few minutes and also ask her to read from her just published book, Lost in Thought, which I've been reading with great pleasure, and I encourage you to read it as well. So Zena, please visit with us.
Thank you so much, Larry. And it's hard for me to express. I know that you guys have been to these events before, so you must see every year a totally overwhelmed person whose just life has been changed in a dramatic way. but I'm telling you, the experience of receiving an award like this is absolutely incredible. And I've been very aware in a way that I've worked in nonprofit organizations, I suppose, my whole life. But I'm very aware in this case that this is a community that's supported by a community, and that I am now a part of it. And I'm particularly grateful for that. So I'm so grateful to all of you for supporting the Dallas Institute, for supporting this prize. I want to express special gratitude to Kim Jordan. That's terrible. Sorry. I heard you were a shy person. Maybe by getting your name wrong, that will make you less tense. But anyway, thank you, Kim. This is just extraordinary for me. Anyway, I can't say enough. I'm so excited to be a part of this institute, a part of this work, to have received this wonderful honor. And anyway, it's thrilling to be here with you. And I wish it could be in person. So the thing I was going to read is from chapter 3 of my book called The Uses of Uselessness. And the subsection's called Freedom and Aspiration.
What page are you on, Zena?
188.
Thank you.
I can tell you've been in a great book seminar somehow. Okay, starting in the third paragraph, for those of you following along. The social use of intellectual life lies in its cultivation of broader and richer ways of being human, in shaping our aspirations and hopes for ourselves. It is obvious and widely noticed that literature provides a broadening of our perspective. We sympathize in our imaginations with human beings different from us, people of different races, genders, religions, times, and places. But the same is true of mathematics and science. It is surely part of what it means to be a human being to think mathematically and scientifically. By studying these subjects, especially through the thinkers of the past, we see from the inside magnificent and strange human possibilities and modes of comprehension. When I say that intellectual life cultivates our aspirations, I do not mean that it expands career choices, although of course it may do that. We may discover a desire to be a firefighter or a forest ranger through exercising the love of learning. We may decide to leave everything to live in a poor hut outside the village, growing vegetables, praying, and offering spiritual advice when asked. But human aspiration is deeper in range and broader in scope than our outward life. We aspire to ways of being, to be wise or kind, to be vast in understanding, steadfast in truth, humble in success, witty in adversity. Albert Schweitzer, who left a brilliant career in divinity and music to provide medical care to the poor in Africa, pointed out that not everyone has the opportunity to make such a dramatic and costly choice. But anyone furnished with the basic necessities of life can aspire to the splendor of humanity, even if his or her individual splendor is not widely known or recognized.
Yeah.
The cultivation of modes of human aspiration must be undertaken freely and spontaneously. The intellect must be left to lead us where it leads us, regardless of what we thought our goals to be when we started. When young Augustine begins his search for wisdom, he does not imagine sacrificing his girlfriend or his career in rhetoric. The intellect provides an intrinsically unpredictable guide to life, one with its own integrity and independence. If it is wholly subjugated to economic interests, whether personal or public, it will rationalize pre-existing agendas rather than reshape them. If it is subjugated to the pursuit of justice, the agendas may be more appealing to some, but the result will be the same. The political agenda will dominate and obscure, making it difficult to evaluate our principles, to understand better and more deeply what justice is, and to see it and its violations more clearly before our eyes. The subjugation of the intellect will establish a hierarchy of moral experts who instruct others in partial truths. This is why intellectual life resists subservience to lesser goals such as wealth, ambition, politics, or pleasure. If intellectual life is not left to rest in its splendid uselessness, it will never bear its practical fruit. Likewise, the struggle for a just society is worthless if it costs us the fruits of justice.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Zena. That's just a taste of the book. So please, again, I encourage you, get the book and read it, because it has a message for our time, and it speaks powerfully to issues dear to the Dallas Institute. We're grateful for it. And now I'd like to begin our conversation. So audience members, please, if you've not done so, enter your questions for Zena in the chat function on your screen, or raise your hand and we'll call on you. So I see already that we have some hands raised, and I want to call first on Brill Garrett. Brill? Unmute yourself.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. It's really a thrill for all of us. This question focuses on education. Let's go back to our early years. In the prologue, I was charmed by your references to your own childhood and the celebration of books and reading and ideas within your own family. Do you have any steps that you feel like we can take within our own public elementary schools to instill and provide for those kind of values, celebration of books and reading? What are your thoughts there to start right at the very beginning?
It's not something in which I'm expert, but I think that I received a wonderful intellectual formation in my childhood, both through school and at home. And I think a lot of that was a sense of freedom and spontaneity. That is, it wasn't just that everyone around me read books. And so I knew that that's what you were supposed to do. And there's all kinds of ways that we could bring that into the schools. And I think that's something that many people are working on. But it's that sense of freedom and spontaneity and respect for the individual as a developing human being who directs, in the end, their own intellectual life. That's what I feel is missing from education at every level, as far as I can see. A sense that we individuals as learners are the directors of our education. We are the source of the energy and the love of learning that drives it on. And you have to foster that, and then you've got to trust it. And I think that's harder for us these days than it has been. But it's a wonderful question. So thank you. And thank you for reading also.
Yeah, thank you, Brill. Thank you, Zena. And Nancy Robertson, do you have a question?
Well, I do. First, I would like to say warm congratulations to you, Dr. Hiett.
Thank you.
I've begun your book. I've not yet finished, so I really enjoyed the excerpt that you read to us. Thank you. I think something that I ponder often, and I think many of us do, our culture's emphasis in education tends toward STEM courses, math and science and engineering and technology. And of course, those are worthy pursuits.
Oh, I lost your audio there.
Nancy, we lost you.
I can say something about STEM education, I suppose.
Oh, here we're back.
I don't want to guess. She's back. Okay, good.
We're back. Go ahead.
But how do we persuade those who are admirably headed toward careers in engineering and science that their equal pursuit of the humanities will help them throughout their lives and help all of us pursue the common good?
So I think that we have to find ways to tap into their natural love of learning and their natural curiosity. You know, it's funny, I've been speaking for the past couple of years on college campuses, and the engineers are often extremely curious, extremely driven to learn things outside their field. And I think that my guess, honestly, is that quite a lot could be done just by providing those people with some resources to exercise their mind in this way. And whether that's providing, solid liberal arts supplement to the education that they're getting, or whether you want to try to build a core curriculum in certain places, it depends on the institution and what else is going on. But I think that part of what I see the problem with the humanities that we've suffered under is a sense of insecurity.
Mhm.
As we think that no one's going to care about this or no one's going to be interested. And we sort of patronize our audience by telling them that, in fact, what it's really good for is something that doesn't really drive us to begin with, like getting a good job in Silicon Valley or developing critical thinking skills or things like that. So I think we need to have confidence and to speak with confidence and to share our intellectual lives with others with confidence. And I think that would do just so much good all on its own. So that's my hope for the STEM characters.
That's a fine and encouraging answer. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your question.
Thanks for that, Nancy. That's a great one. I see Dennis Patrick Slattery with his hand raised. Dennis?
Thank you, Larry. And Zena, thank you for writing this book. I mean, I needed an injection, an imaginal and intellectual injection. And may I read to you your words? This is on page 203. And there's two sentences that I want to read. Intellectual life is a source of human dignity, exactly because it is something beyond politics and social life. And then this is the sentence that really grabbed me. But withdrawal from the world is also necessary because intellectual life is, as I have said, an ascetic practice. I just love that insight. And with it, I want to challenge Stanley Fish, who on the back cover says, an old lesson, but one that must be relearned. And this is the part, especially at times like ours, when a passion for social justice is the new idol to which disinterested contemplation is being sacrificed. And I want to challenge him, and I'd love for you to respond, because your book, for me, is another form of social activism. I mean, even the solitude that one withdraws into for the intellectual life is in its own way a kind of intellectual activism, I think. So any observation from you would be great.
Well, I think you've put your finger on something which not everyone has noticed, which is that for all of my talk, there's a certain kind of political approach to learning, as in the passage I read tonight, which I think does shut off possibilities and sort of stifles the free movement of the intellect.
Yeah.
But the fact is, what you've seen is that, in fact, I'm a extremely community-oriented person. The book is in certain ways a political book. That is, I'm trying to get these ideas out into the community, get them circulating, get some conversations going in the hopes that some institutions can be either rebuilt or renewed or started or what have you.
Right.
So it's a political book. And I do also think that intellectual life is a really key component for all of the things that we want from our communities, politically and socially. So I definitely think you've put your finger on that. I don't want to be too hard on Stanley Fish because I know how hard it is to get a blurb on a book, and I'm very grateful to him for on however little time he had just putting something out there.
Yep.
But the the critique of social justice driven academia is in the end limited in my view. There's something in it that I want to honor, that is the agenda driven learning I think is not good. But being directed towards others, being directed towards community and service to one another, I'm all on board with that 100%. So, and that really in a certain way is in my heart. So thank you for noticing that. It's not something, many people see the solitude and the images of solitude and think that that's my final word, and they don't see the rest of the story. So thank you for reading that carefully. I really appreciate it.
Beautiful response, Zena. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank you, Zena. Someone else. I'm scrolling through my, oh yes, Sudeshna, please. You're on mute.
Yes.
There you go.
Hello. Hi, Zena. I wanted to first of all congratulate you in person, although virtually, and with the hope that down the line, we will all be able to meet and discuss your rather excellent and in some ways provocative book. And I wanted to also say that it was quite a challenge and a hard task to look at, as one of the judges on the committee for, I was really honored to be on it, and the pool of highly recommended and superbly qualified applicants. And out of that, of course, we chose you, and so you are here. And for that, I welcome you to the Dallas Institute. To Nancy's and your discussion about humanities, I do want to say that, and I have an uncle, a quantum physicist, an emeritus at McMaster University, who truly believes that the American system of liberal education should be the first step in all college education before you come to engineering and any of the sciences. And because it opens up a different way of thinking, which is juxtaposed or maybe completely different from the other more science channeled. And I think that is exactly what you all were talking about. I have sons, both of whom are employed in Silicon Valley, and neither of them did anything scientific. One, both of our humanities. So I think there is certainly hope in that, even if you are, quote unquote, ambitious, career driven, but the idea of arts and humanities has to be the basis, the infrastructure for pushing us forward in a direction that is balanced.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I think that's absolutely right. And I emphasize the uselessness of learning for its own sake in my book, but that's in a large part a rhetorical move, because everyone talks about how useful it is and how important everything useful is. But I wanted to step back and say, well, actually, even if it wasn't good for anything, we would still want to do it. But that doesn't change the fact that what you're saying is absolutely true, that it's a wonderful preparation for all kinds of careers and all kinds of walks of life, including highly technical areas. So I want to support that. The one thing I wanted to add to the conversation, which I think was again in the reading, in the selection that I read, that I also think that science and mathematics have been a bit diminished in our current environment. That is, they too have been instrumentalized and directed towards other ends, towards certain agendas, towards products or things like that. And they too need their freedom and their spontaneity, and they need to be able to reach out to whatever they're going to reach out to. And I think if you look at the great science of the past, you can see that that's how it was done. It was a free speculative activity, not just a sort of more factory ordered means to an end. So I'm hoping that I'm not quite in a position to emphasize that in my work, because I'm not a mathematician or a scientist, but I want to say that to honor these other ways of thinking, which in many ways are closer to the humanities than I think we think they are. But anyway, thanks so much for being here, and thanks for your wonderful, and thanks, and it's very humbling to hear about the work of the committee. So anyway, thank you for reminding me of how difficult it must have been. So anyway, happy to be here.
Yes, thank you. And so, yeah, we have 2 of our 3 judges here with us tonight. Dennis Slattery is another judge, and then Dan Russ, who is in Denver, was supposed to be with us, and his Wi-Fi went out. He told us earlier this evening. So we're missing Dan. You'll meet him later. What about another question or 2? Someone else? Anyone?
Larry, I have a question. It's Simi.
Yes, Simi, go ahead.
So, Zena, thank you. I think your book is so timely at a moment when so many colleges that call themselves liberal arts colleges are giving up on this very idea of liberation that you are celebrating in your book so beautifully, so eloquently, but I also think so urgently. I think the idea of the liberal arts is becoming rarer and rarer in liberal arts colleges. So I'm so grateful for your book. I'm so happy that you are being feted and celebrated as you so richly deserve to be, because your work is urgent, I think. But my question, I guess I have 2 questions. One, I love this rhetorical ploy, the uselessness of the humanities, the uselessness of this life of contemplation. Would you propose, is uselessness perhaps a synonym for joy, for delight? If you're not being rhetorical, but is that the reason that we're drawn to it, no matter who we are, not because we want to have great jobs, or a certain kind of conventional idea of success?
So I think that's really an interesting question. And when I was first thinking about this and how to write about liberal learning and why it mattered, I was kind of haunted by the thought that it might just be a really sophisticated type of pleasure. And I wanted more than that. So in fact, I didn't even want pleasure in the title. That came from the editor. And so on the one hand, I want to say, yes, pleasure and joy, savoring satisfaction. There's satisfaction, there's gratitude, there's such a richness to the types of appreciation that one can have in intellectual activity. On the one hand, I want to say that's right, and I want to say that's one of the signs that it's really for its own sake, and not just useful for this or that. On the other hand, I've also taken pains to emphasize and this gets back to what Dennis was asking about, the ways in which a life of learning might be a life of suffering. Not suffering for its own sake, not pain for its own sake, but because it's so profound, because it makes us grow. And any kind of growth in anything serious is going to involve some sacrifice and some difficulty. So on the one hand, I want to say, yes, 100% it's joy. That's what learning is all about. But I want to qualify it in those ways that it seems to me a bit grander than just a pleasure. And it does also have this aspect of suffering or pain to it. Anyway, it's a wonderful question. Thank you, Simi.
Thank you.
So thank you, Zena. Thanks everyone for your excellent questions and comments. I know there are other questions out there, so sorry we have to cut this short and get ready for the main program, but I am appreciative of all your comments and questions. I would expect nothing less from an audience of Dallas Institute members and supporters. We're sincerely grateful for your many and various contributions to the programs of the Institute, including this Hiett Prize in the Humanities. We will see you again at 6:30 p.m. for the 2020 Hiett Award ceremony. Thank you.